Good afternoon, one and all. Today, as a part of our national webinar on research methodology, we have another eminent resource person by name Dr. N. Santosh Ranganath, who is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Commerce and Management Studies, Dr.B.R.Ambedkar University, Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh, India. A brief overview of his profile. He has qualified MBA, MPhil, PhD and UGC NET and Andhra Pradesh State Eligibility Test. He is specialized in teaching operations research technique, quantitative techniques, operations management, research methodology and statistical analysis. Up to today, he is having an experience of over 16 years in teaching and research for the postgraduate students of MCOM and MBA. He has published 7 books and above 100 research articles in reputed national and international journals. He has presented more than 150 papers in different areas of management at various national and international conferences. He is a life member for the Indian Commerce Association, New Delhi, Indian Society of Mathematics and Mathematical Sciences, International Association of Academicians and Researchers, Forum for Intellectual Academicians and Researchers, and he is also an editor and publisher of a reputed journal, International Journal of Innovative Research and Practices, which has been publishing successfully since 2013. With these few words of his introduction, I request Dr. N. Santosh Ranganath, Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce and Management Studies, Dr.B.R.Ambedkar University, Srikakulam, Andhra Pradesh, India, to start his proceedings. Thank you very much, sir.
Person is not that much of honest or he is obedient. So these all coming under qualitative data. That means the qualitative data depends on the other's perception, whereas the quantitative data that we can verify. So in research, majorly we need to depend on the quantitative data and using of several techniques, thereby we can get the qualitative result. Now, how those data can be measured in a proper manner, what kind of scaling techniques to be used. Before that, the fundamentally, what is the scaling, what is measurement, everything we need to discuss. Now I'm going to start my session. That what is a measurement? It is assigning of numbers or symbols depending on the characteristics of the object with some rules. What are the rules? Those can be assigned as per the uniform manner. Definitely we need to proceed with uniform. One correspondence must be there. By application of these rules, we can assign with some numbers or symbols or non-numerical way. Either numerical or non-numerical way. So whereas the scaling involves creating a continuum upon which measured objectives are to be located. Suppose an example, we are going, a departmental store wants to measure the scale of attitude of the customers. So each respondent requested to assign the numbers 1 to 10 from 1 is extremely unfavorable, where 10 is extremely favorable in ascending order. Measurement is the actual assignment of a number from 1 to 10 each respondent. Scaling is the process of placing the respondents on the continuum with respect to their attitude toward the department store. Measurement is the process of recording observations as part of the research. Scaling, on the other hand, is the assignment of objectives to numbers or semantics. These two words merged together in either statistics or research refer to the relationship among the assigned objects and their recorded observations. A measurement scale is used to qualitative or quantitative data variables in statistics. It determines the kind of techniques to be used in the statistical analysis. For every statistical analysis, the scale of measurement is very important. The marketing research is highly dependable upon the scaling techniques, without which no market analysis can be performed. And now we can go for discussing what are the primary scaling techniques are there. And if we that we already discussed, data can be divided as a qualitative and quantitative, whereas the qualitative data measured with numerical and non-numerical. And two scales of data, that is nominal, ordinal, will comes under both numerical way and non-numerical way. We can symbolize it with numbers, or we can symbolize it with some kind of alphabets. Whereas the quantitative data, which consists only the numerical way, and the remaining scales, interval and ratio, falls under numerical quantitative data. And for the scale of measurements, the first one is the nominal scale, second one is the ordinal scale, third interval, and the fourth one is ratio scale. The scale determines the amount of information contained in the data, definitely what kind of information and how much of the information is there with our database, which determines with these four fundamental and primary scaling techniques. And the scale indicates the summarization of data for the statistical analysis in an appropriate way. If we discuss the first one, nominal scale, is the scale of measurement that is used for identification purpose only. It is only for the identification of the attributes. The assigned numbers to attributes for easy identity, these numbers are, however, not qualitative in nature and only act as a label. For the labeling of data only, we are going to proceed with the very fundamental nominal scale. So different kind of nominal scales are there. The first one is dichotomous nominal scale, which is having only two labels. Dichotomous nominal scale having only two labels. For example, do you have mobile? What the alternative answers will be given, yes or no. And the questions will be continued in an open-ended manner. If you are having the mobile, which brand of mobile that you are having, that will be continued. But the first question, only two labels are there, yes or no. So if two labels are there, which falls under dichotomous nominal scale, whereas the second one is nominal with order. The labels on nominal scale arranged in a ascending order or descending order. For example, high, medium, low. Suppose the income level of the respondents that we are going to get, high income, middle income, low income, sometimes below poverty line. So like that we can proceed. That means descending order or sometimes ascending order. And the third one is nominal without order. So there is no sequence, which is called nominal scale without order. That is black and white. So in some of the countries, the same problem is there. The people will be defined and divided as black people and white people. There is no proper specification or no sequence. And the second one, so nominal scale, if we take an example of students of university are classified the residents where they live in using a non-numerical way. Suppose the students came from Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai, New Delhi. And for labeling only, you are going to give some numerical codes. 1 for Hyderabad, 2 for Chennai, 3 for Mumbai, and 4 for New Delhi. And you are not going to proceed why one only to be given Hyderabad. That can be proceeded as per your interest. And the gender we want to calculate, the gender will be called as a variable, and two attributes will be there, male and female. And no doubt, as per the Supreme Court order, the third gender also to be given, the transgender. And the values, the numerical labels that we are giving as a male for 1 for male, 2 for female, suppose third also there, transgender, 3 for transgender. And why we need to give one for male only? Why not female? That is our interest, that we can give one for female and two for male. And when we are discussing about what kind of numbers are to be assigned, no matter which one is first or second, while assigning the numbers, suppose in Indian cricket team, the 7 jersey is given to Dhoni, whereas previously 10 jersey is given to Sachin Tendulkar. It's not mean that Dhoni will comes in the 7th order, or Sachin Tendulkar will comes in 10th order. So Sachin Tendulkar majorly is the opening batsman, first order only. So we cannot say that based on that order only is the nominal number to be assigned. So these comes under nominal scale. And coming to the ordinal scale, which involves the ranking or ordering of the attributes depending on the variables being scaled. The attributes on an ordinal scale are usually arranged in ascending or descending order. It measures the degree of occurrence of the variables. So the data which have properties nominal data, what kind of rank has to be given. Sometimes suppose we are going to purchase some product in Amazon or Flipkart, online shopping portal. So once the purchase is over, the company will ask for the feedback. So how you are going to satisfy with the particular product. So once you receive the product. So that can be given with ascending order, descending order, very much satisfied, satisfied, neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, dissatisfied, and very much dissatisfied. Like that, some kind of ranking manner, either non-numerical label or numerical label will be used under the ordinal. Ordinal scale, which based on individual choice of the particular respondent's preferences. So the ordinal scale allows you to determine whether an object has more or less the characteristics than some others, which has to be utilized under the research process. And if we take in the example of students of a university are classified by their class standing using non-numerical labels such as junior students or senior students. One is to be denotes for junior, 2 ascending order, 2 denotes for the seniors, 4 years of suppose BTech is there, sub-juniors, juniors, seniors, super seniors, like that, 1, 2, 3, 4 ascending order can be processed with the ordinal scale. Another example, so 4 brands are there. So 2 consumers are requested to give their ranks about those 4 brands or products. So Mr. X given first rank for the C, then B, then A, then D. Whereas the Mr. Y, the second respondent, given first preference for B, then C, then D, then A. So it do not show how much prefers. So the scale is non-metric and ordinal. And the third one is interval scale. The data measurement in the scale in which the levels are ordered in each numerically equal distance. Definitely equal distance must be there. If we take in the example of a watch, so 1 to 12 numbers will be there. Each of the number differentiated, that means equal time factor of 5 minutes. Okay, so that is comes under interval data. Arithmetic operations can be performed on interval scale. Some of these uses, including calculating students' CGPA, cumulative grading points can be calculated, measuring of patients' temperatures. So in the temperature, how we are going to, thermometer, how we are going to observe the difference between 5 degrees centigrade, 10 degrees centigrade. That means equal difference will be there. Those falls under interval scale. Is the numerical label with the same difference among the consecutive measurement units. Researchers can obtain better comparison between the objectives. Interval scale always a numerical way only. And the example, average starting salary, that is annual salary in 2020 in a particular organization. So financial executives will receive, suppose, $40,125, whereas a marketing executive $42,250, and human resource executives $39,850, and marketing employee earn $2,125 more than the finance employee, and $2,400 more than the HR employee. So something, the difference is there. So what kind of difference? The similar kind of employees will get the same salary package, similar level, and similar kind of experience of everything. And these all comes under interval data. So thermometer, how it is to be differentiated centigrade to foreign heat, everything follows under interval data. And the fourth one is ratio scale. The data have all the properties of interval data, and the ratio of two values are meaningful. Variables such as distance, height, weight, and time use the ratio scale. And it is the peak level of data measurement satisfying four characteristics of measurement scale: identity, magnitude, equal interval. That is interval scales follows. And the fourth one is absolute zero property. Along with all the three, absolute zero property will comes under ratio scaling. Some examples of ratio scale includes these time series and all, and extensively used in marketing, advertising, and business sales. It is compatible with all the statistical analysis methods like measures of deviation, mean, median, and mode can be calculated based on the ratio scale. And measures of dispersion like range, quartile deviation, mean deviation, and standard deviation, all these can be calculated based on the ratio scale. That means how much of the ratio is there, that is marks of the students can be defined as less than 40, 0 to 40. So falls under fail, suppose. 40 to 50, that is a old kind of measure only. I'm going to explain. That is 40 to 50 falls under third class something, and 50 to 60 falls under second class, and 60 to 80 first class, and more than 80 suppose distinction. So these ratio scales can be measured, and it is the superior measurement technique in ratio. The example, if you take in marketing sales, marketing share, and number of customers are variables measured on the ratio scale. In economics, income, inflation, exchange rate, population, income per capita, all are the good examples of the ratio scale. So these are the four different kind of basic scales are there. And based on these measurement scale, we can proceed how we are going to collect the data. That means how we need to decide what kind of data is to be collected first. That will be more feasible for application of various techniques, thereby can get desired qualitative research can be possible. So for that, suppose how the respondents are going to answer for the questions. So yesterday again in the data collection strategies, Professor Venugopal sir explained the questionnaire method is the better method, which is economical and more convenient. So for that, how what are the prerequisites are there for the preparation of the good questionnaire, and what is to be followed there. Some of the parameters will be there. How many number of options must be there? Suppose a student is going to approach a competitive examination. So that is completely objective oriented. Nowadays, everything is objective and online only. So each question consisting of how many number of alternative options. That means, suppose 4 optional alternative answers are there for every question. First question is right means remaining 3 are incorrect. First question is correct means remaining 3 are incorrect. So how much the probability for getting success, that is 25% is there. Similarly, how much probability that is not getting success is remaining 75%. So if more number of options is given, the probability will be reduced for the student for getting to give correct answers. So for that, similarly, in preparing the questionnaire also, if more number of alternative answers are given, the respondent may not show interest for reading each and every alternative answers and thereby selecting the one. So simple way that alternative options has to be given for each and every question of the questionnaire. And there is some criteria how many number of questions needs to be given. Every time it is not possible, that more convenient for the respondent as a decomistic way, that is only yes or no questions we may not give. That must be convenient for the customer, as well as we need to get proper and complete information also. That accurate information needs to be received. So understanding the customer attitude properly, and thereby how we are needed to get the accurate information, we need to proceed for the remaining measurement scales as the classification of scaling techniques. So actually the scaling techniques derived 2 types: comparative scaling techniques, that is the scale these will be compared with one each other. Non-comparative individually with objects of the particular product, it will be compared, which is falls under non-comparative scales. And comparative scales consisting of paired comparison, rank order comparison, and constant sum of comparison. Whereas non-comparative scales derived as continuous rating scales and itemized rating scales. Now coming to comparative scaling techniques. So these involves direct comparison of stimulus objects, that means comparison with others, and whereas non-comparative, each objective is scaled independently with others, that itself is to be compared. The first one is paired comparison. So one of the researcher mentioned that for getting a complete information about a question, a particular question, there must be 130 statements. That means for the particular question, there must be 130 alternatives. So which brand of mobile that you are using? A basic and fundamental question being asked by the mobile manufacturing company for getting of information as a feedback from the respondent, suppose, and wants to know how many the competitor products are having sales, like that. And suppose all the mobiles, domestic and international, been mentioned, like Apple, Samsung, something Oppo, Gippo, all Chinese, all Koreans, hundreds of models will be there, top models. Actually, thousands of models can be available in the market. All top models, about hundreds of models being given as an alternative options. So it took more time and more effort to be given for the respondent to select, because it is to be readed or every alternative option, thereby select a particular one. It is difficult for the respondent to select. But the researcher mentioned that by using the 130 options only, we can properly and accurately get the information. Even though the statement given by him is correct, but it is not convenient for the customer. Customer may not show interest. If you given the questionnaire as a booklet, he may not show interest and we cannot get the information from the customer. So the paired comparison scaling, even having a lot of limitations, that is one I already told you, 130 statements must be there. And the data obtained are ordinal in nature. Yeah, that is an advantage. And paired comparison scaling is the most widely used comparative scaling technique by using the formula of n into n minus 1 by 2. That means comparing with some paired products or paired brands. Under the assumption of transitivity, it is possible to convert paired comparison data into a rank order. Rank order manner we can proceed. Suppose a market survey was conducted to find out consumer preference for the network service provided brands A and B. The outcome of the survey was as follows. Suppose the results we received, brand A shown interest by 57% of people, brand B, the remaining 43% responded. It is visible that the consumer preference is there towards brand A over brand B. So it is a simple and basic comparison. And there are 3 new features in the last release of a software product. The software company is planning to remove one of these features in the new release. Therefore, the product researchers are performing a comparative analysis of the most and least preferred feature. So most preferred feature means they can proceed with a particular feature. Suppose they are coming from the least preferred way, that means they are going to skip that feature to provide or to include in the particular product as a new release. Which feature is most preferred to you between the following pairs? Suppose filter and voice recorder, filter and video recorder, voice recorder and video recorder. Suppose the third one, most of the people is given as the most preferable, and the first one, filter voice recorder, is given as the least preference. Obviously, the company will proceed by introducing the new release, new model of the product without having the first feature. So they are going to avoid the feature. So in that way, they can proceed with the paired comparison. And now coming to the rank order scaling, the respondent needs to rank or arrange them objects according to their interest or preference. A soap manufacturing company conducted a rank order, or a toothpaste company. Suppose here some toothpaste brands are there: Colgate, Close-Up, Pepsodent, Dauber, Sensodyne, Himalaya, like that. And the respondents are asked to give the order of preference. So most of Indians are preferred with Colgate. The remaining is preferred with Close-Up. Now more people are using Ayurvedic related as something like Himalaya, Patanjali. So as per their interest, they are going to give the ranks, 1 to 10 ranks, with top brands of the particular area or region being selected. And this is based on the rank order scaling. And the third one is constant sum scaling. Respondents allocate a constant sum of units such as 50 points, 100 100 points to attributes of a product reflect their importance. If an attribute is unimportant, the respondents obviously assigns as 0. And if more preferred, twice our highest number can be given as. And sum of all the points must be 50. Hence, the name of the scale is nothing but constant sum. The total sum of the constant values. That's why it is given as a constant sum scaling. And taken the example, the respondents belonging to 3 different segments are asked to allocate 50 points following the attributes of the cosmetic product. So finishing, so given like 11, 8, 9, skin friendly, 11, 12, 12, like that different attributes, different segment people are given preference like these numbers. And if you observe, the 12 is the maximum, where in the segment 1, preferred with competitive price as a major factor. Whereas segment 2 and 3, the people given preference for the skin friendly. So this is constant sum. These 3 comes under comparative scales. And here are some of the disadvantages of the comparative scales. So these also comes with the ordinal nature of data, inability to generalize beyond the stimulus objective scale. And the next one is non-comparative scaling techniques. So respondents evaluate only one objective at a time. And for this reason, non-comparative scales are often referred to as monadic scales. So these will be divided as continuous scales and itemized rating scales. So first one is continuous scaling rating scales, and second one is itemized rating scales. Again, itemized rating scales divided with Likert, semantic differential, Thurston scale, Staple scale, like that. And continuous rating scale is a graphical related scale using of emojis. Now, if you installed a new app in your mobile, Android mobile or iPhone. So after using it, the company will ask what kind of rating that you are going to give, and or else how you got satisfied with the rating. And they will proceed with using of some emojis, smiley face, question mark face, and unhappy kind of emojis like that will be given, and accordingly we can proceed. So these comes under continuous rating scales. And taking an example of a matrix manufacturing company used a continuous rating scale to find out the level of customer satisfaction for its new comfy bedding. The response can be taken in the following different way. So vision 1, highly dissatisfied to highly satisfied, and it is given with quite satisfied. And vision 2 also given with quite satisfied, and vision 3, that means version 3 also given with quite satisfied. That means most of the versions and most of the people are opted for quite satisfied. So the company may observe, so this product got satisfied, but what measure to be taken, what approach to be made to make them highly satisfied. So the second category is itemized rating scales. The respondents are provided with a scale that has a number of brief description associated with each category. The categories are ordered in terms of scale position, and the respondents are required to select the specified category that best describes the objective being rated. So these will be 3 types: Likert scale, that is 5-point scale; semantic differential scale, that is 7-point scale; whereas a Staple scale, that is 10-point scale. So Likert scale, the mostly used scale in most of the researchers. Most of the companies also for the research will follow with the Likert 5-point scale, which describes for kind of parameters can be find out with 5-point scale, that is strongly disagree to strongly agree, which we already discussed in the kind of ordinal scale, whereas it can be proceeded either with ascending order or descending order. And suppose here is an example how the people are given with these values. It is given with disagree values, thereby neither agree nor disagree, neutral values, and how we are going to prefer. The profile analysis has to be made with the total summated score has to be calculated. And the semantic differential scale. So it is a 7-point scale which falls under negative, positive with neutral value. So the bipolar labels that have to be made, the negative adjective or phrase sometimes appears as the left side of the scale and sometimes at the right. So suppose stylish, unfashionable about a product, fashionable product. So whether it is a stylish, and if you chosen for +3, that means a maximum level of stylish product. If it is given -3 means it's completely unfashionable, out of fashion. And suppose the person is selected is -2, so it is out of fashion but not completely. So different categories of values being taken. So how it is falls under -3 to +3, the scale has to be observed, and finally how much the value we received based on the various kind of parameters which comes under semantic differential scale. And the third one is Staple scale. It is a 10-point scale which may not have the neutral value. You need to support either positive way or negative way. Neither nor situation may not be possible. And value for money, how much you give importance for value for money in a positive way. If +5 is selected, higher value for money is to be proceeded, and -5 may not give any preference for money. And similarly, user-friendly interface about a feature of any product, how much the product, suppose electronic product, how much it is user-friendly. So whether you are proceeding in a positive way, +1 to +5, less user-friendly to more user-friendly, and it may not be negative. It may not be able to understandable. It is required some support of the expert people to explain how the product is to be used, like Eureka Forbes. So some expert people will come and explain how the product has to be used, and thereby the customer will understand and show interest to purchase the products. And how much we are going to reliable for kind of information, that the information used by us is correct or incorrect. The questionnaire is one of the most widely used tools to collect the data in especially social science research. The main objective of the questionnaire in research is to obtain relevant information in most reliable and valid manner. Thus, the accuracy and consistency of the questionnaire forms a significant aspect of the research methodology, which is known as validity and reliability. Often, new researchers are confused with selection and conducting of proper validity type to test their research instrument. The research instrument will be the questionnaire that we have selected. And coming to the validity, it refers how accurately a method measures what it is intended to measure. If research has high validity, that means it produces results that correspond to real properties, characteristics, and variations. High reliability is one indicator that a measurement is valid, highly valid. If a method is not reliable, it may not be valid. So validity refers how accurately the method can be measured, and if research has high validity, that means the corresponding properties has to be followed. And validity categorized as 4 types: criteria-oriented validity, phase validity, content validity, and construct validity. Again, the criteria validity categorized as predictive validity, concurrent validity, and postdictive validity. Whereas the last one, construct validity, divided as discriminant validity and convergent validity. Now, coming to the first one, what is a criteria validity? It measures how well one measure predicts an outcome for another measure. A test has this type of validity if it is useful for predicting performance or behavior in other situations. That means past, present, and future. How the past is related to the present and how we are going to make the changes in the future. So criteria validity divided as different kind. The first one is predictive validity. If the test accurately predicts what it is supposed to predict. So if you are going to conduct a test, examination, the test for the student, internal test, what we are going to identify through this test, what we are going to measure the student abilities through test, that we need to confirm properly, that is comes under predictive validity. Whereas a concurrent validity, when the predictor and criteria data are collected at the same time, it can be referred to when a test replaces another test. So how we are going to replace a test with other test? So now, due to COVID, most of the universities, even government also giving clear instructions, no way of conducting classes offline, that means physically, or examination also maximum. The universities, the institutions has to make arrangements for conducting through online. So the classes we can able to conduct with various platforms of online, and for conducting examinations there is a lot of that means setup has to be made. Examination setup, the proper software must be there, and thereby training to be given for the employees. Suddenly it cannot be possible, but if the government given as a clear instructions, every organization or institutions has to be changed how the manual system been replaced. Now we know very well IBPS previously at the time of us for going for the bank test means that time a board will be there for the bank examination, and we are going to answer with the OMR sheet. But it completely replaced. Now all the IBPS examination throughout India will conduct through online only. No kind of written manner or OMR or nothing else. So how it is going to be replaced? Next, the third one is postdictive validity. If the test is valid measure of something that happened before, whether the conducted test is valid and how it is more better than the previous one we already conducted. That is under postdictive validity. And now the second kind of validity is a phase validity. It evaluates the appearance of the questionnaire in terms of feasibility, readability, consistency, that means consistency and style of formatting and the clarity of the language used. A complete appearance. What kind of format that you are using, what kind of language that you are using, high level or medium level. And what kind of these are styles and everything that you are using. Everything falls under face validity. And the third one is content validity. When you create a test or a questionnaire for a particular subject, you want the questions to actually measure what you want them to. Content validity uses a more formal statistics-based approach, usually with experts in the field, and these experts judge the questionnaire how well they cover the material. Suppose I conduct the examination and students unable to answer the questions given in the question paper because these all are out of syllabus. Why the syllabus I have specified within the boundaries only, if I provided the question, the students can able to answer the questions. Every subject is a question, no doubt. If I given the questions which I have not discussed in the classroom and which is not falls under the syllabus I have that university been designed, how far the students are going to be answered. That means the questionnaire given to you, whether these are falls under the particular limitations or not, that means the respondents, if coming to the questionnaire oriented, the respondents are able to understand about the question, and if it is beyond his knowledge, he cannot able to understand. And the third one is construct validity. Construct validity refers to how well you translated or transformed a concept, idea, or behavior that is construct into functioning and operating reality. Construct validity has two components: discriminant validity and convergent validity. Discriminant validity is the extent to which a variable discriminates from other latent variables. Discriminant validity means latent variable is able to associate with other observed variables. So how one variable is differentiated with another variable. How one particular sometimes it is very difficult to ask some kind of questions. All the answers are similar. I will give one example. I given numerically 2030. 2030. So it is not a questionnaire related question, but something I got in WhatsApp by somebody. 2030 numerical way is given related to which of the following four? A, 2030. B, 2 zeros 30. So like that it is given, all the optional answers are equal and similar to what the question I have asked, and nobody able to answer which one is correct and which one is incorrect. We cannot say. That means if we are going to are able, that means needs to answer for the questionnaire, that means alternative options. As a respondent, we must able to understand clearly, and we can able to differentiate one option to another option. That kind of manner the questionnaire has to be constructed. That is valid. So this is falls under discriminant validity. Whereas convergent validity refers to the degree to which two measures of constructs that theoretically should be related are in fact related. So how far we can accept those validation of answers, and how far we can confirm that this answer can be right and this answer may not be right. And proper evidence manner, if you construct the questions and procedure, that is falls under convergent validity. So these two comes under construct validity, which is the part of validity. Now, source of measurement differences, we can take in the equation of m is equal to a plus e, where m stands for measurement, a is the indicator, where e is the error, random or systematic error. So errorless measurement is required every time for conducting of a effective research, no doubt. So reliability, the second one, is a degree to which measures are free from random error and therefore yield consistent results. Reliability relates to stability or consistency of a measure. For example, a medical thermometer is a reliable tool that would measure the correct temperature each time it is used. In the same way, a reliable math test will accurately measure mathematical knowledge for every student who takes it and reliable. So you are going to attend GRE and you are not reliable, that GRE test will derive the difference between the meritorious students and with the poor students. And if you are not reliable, how you are going to organize that particular test? So once we conduct it, we need to accept that was the test definitely will observe the difference between, and thereby we need to clear the test and we can proceed for the further steps. So temperature also in the same time, each time the thermometer given the same kind of temperature, then we can say that the thermometer is works. Otherwise, different temperature it's showing every time means that thermometer is not working properly. We need to replace it. And different statistical tools are there to measure the reliability, whereas the reliability that we have discussed in a more consistent manner, and reliability is a measure of stability or consistency to test scores. In the same way, reliable manner, how we can specify the questionnaire is most reliable, and thereby we can get the data is also reliable. Then only we can make it the total research, the thesis which we submitted is reliable, accepted by the administration of the university or concerned research cell. So of course, it's not quite as simple as saying the thing a test is reliable. There are many statistical tools you can use to measure the reliability. For example, the first one is inter-rater reliability, are also called as inter-observer reliability, is a measure of consistency between two or independent observers. So how one observer is differentiated with another observer and proceeded with how it is reliable. I may think in one dimension and you may think in another dimension, but both will comes into one final conclusion that the test is reliable. So based on the experience and knowledge, we may think differently, but finally we've been concluded with one point that falls under inter-rater reliability or inter-observer reliability. And the second one is test-retest reliability. Test-retest is the measure of consistency between two measurements. That means measurement is nothing but a test. The same construct administered to the same sample at two different points in time. Suppose I got fever and I observed the temperature with a kind of thermometer. It's shown 100 degrees, like fever. Fever I'm having 100 degrees. So again, I going to I observed with another thermometer, and the particular thermometer also shown with the same temperature, and like that I have been observed with 3-4 thermometers. So all the 4 thermometers been given with the same then I'm accepted that the particular product is reliable, where I have conducted a retest. That means different times I've been tested. So one person got a problem, health problem, and he gone to the hospital. And the hospital people, by conducting several tests, and decided that he is having some kind of problem. It is required to make a surgery. And the patient may not be reliable for the hospital. He gone for the second opinion for another hospital. And that hospital also conducted several tests and thereby given the same kind of problem, then he can be reliable that he is having that disease. We can confirm because he can several retests been conducted, several times the test been conducted. And the third one is split half reliability. Split half, the word itself having the meaning, divided into two parts. Suppose a 10 question paper is there. Those 10 questions are divided into two parts, 5 questions equally. First part A consisting of 5 questions, second part B consisting of remaining 5 questions. It will measure the consistency between two halves of the constructed method. So after clearing the first half, I'm going to clear the second half. Suppose that I'm not able to clear the first half, I may not go for the second half. So this is split half, dividing into equal parts, 50% of parts. Then third one is internal consistency reliability. So it's a measure of consistency between different items of the same construction. So the same way how we are going to differentiate between the items internally, that is within the organization or within the observation parameters, by using how we are going to differentiate between the way of construction of those questionnaires and the procedure with, and how to proceed for further steps, what kind of pilot studies to be conducted, and once you pilot study by taking the sample of some sample size and we proceeded, what more the questions have to be added. That means the modification of the questionnaire has to be made. So first the pilot study being conducted internally in the known people, and thereby we can proceed with the unknown people, and finally we can come into conclusion these modifications are added deletions to be made in the questionnaire. Next, Kuder-Richardson method is a method of reliability for binary test, that one with the right or wrong answers. So how we can identify the right answer, or else how we can go for identify the wrong answer. The same example I will take, suppose a student is going for the competitive examination, arithmetic question is there, 4 alternative options are there. So for the arithmetic question, by using some formula or method, he can derive the solution. What the solution he got falls under 4 options, he can select simply. And sometimes some reasoning oriented question will be there. The students needs to answer by avoiding among the 4 options, alternative options, which are not comes under the related question. That means how to avoid those answers. So these not supports, so delete D. Then B is not related, so avoid B. Then A is not related, avoid A. And finally, V remains with C, and C is the correct answer. So we can proceed arithmetics using of direct formulas or methods by identifying the correct answer, or else avoiding all the incorrect answers which we reminded will be taken as the correct answer. And finally, Cronbach's alpha, most used technique for reliability test, measures internal reliability for test with multiple possible answers. So more number of possible answers are there by using the method, and there is a separate formula and application of those formula, that is submitting the values into the formula, how much the percentage of acceptance will be there according to the whether we are reliable or not, we can proceed. 0.90 we can able to most reliable, and we can proceed with that one. So I'm going to explain simply, not completely, with how formula is derived, what kind of formula is to be, how the formula is to be implemented, not all things, simple concepts related to the statistical tools for measuring the reliability. So this is the comparison between reliability and validity. Suppose this one, both are accepted, means the research comes with the actual value. We can receive the actual value for the research, we can make a qualitative research. And whereas validity is accepted and reliability not accepted, means we cannot proceed the actual value. And reliability accepted and validity is not accepted is also not proceeded with the actual value, and both are not accepted, means it is a far distance with the actual value. So this is the comparison, dramatization of information validity and reliability. And these are the relationship between reliability and validity. If a measure is perfectly valid, it is also perfectly reliable. Definitely. In this case, there is no random or systematic error. Error may not be there for the going towards the more reliability. We need to avoid the errors. If a measure is unreliable, it cannot be perfectly valid, since at a minimum random error is present. Thus, unreliability implies invalid. So, we are not reliable, means there is no chance of validity. If a measure is perfectly reliable, it may or may not be perfectly valid, because systematic error may still be present. There is an error, so it may not be perfectly valid, somewhat valid. Reliability is necessary but not sufficient condition of the validity. And suppose if we are applying the reliability and validity for the thesis or dissertation, so several parameters has to be followed. The first one is the literature review. What have other researchers done? That means previous researchers which we gone as a literature review to devise and improve methods that are reliable and valid. So literature review, the previous researchers have been improved. That means ours is better than their researchers, and how far our research is more reliable and valid than the previous research. The methodology, what methodology used with sample set of size, sample preparation, technical conditions, techniques used, research design we made, how we planned out the research, ensuring reliability and validity for measuring methods are used. These all comes under the methodology. What kind of sampling technique we use? Suppose I used stratified sampling technique. So how far stratified sampling technique is related and applicable? That means how far we are going to reliable for kind of technique being used, getting a valid research. So results, if you taken as a parameter, if you calculate reliability and validity, state these values alongside your main results, which gives the major objectives, achieving of major objective or not, which will give the solution for all the minor objectives which have been taken, whether it is reached the result properly or not. It is based on the reliability and validity. Discussion. This is the moment to talk about how reliable and valid our results actually we received, and thereby consistency, and that it reflect true values. If not, why? If yes, why? If not, why not? These kind of discussions has to be made based on the reliability. And finally, the conclusion: if reliability and validity were a big problem for your finding, how we are going to proceed with finding suggestions and other kind of conclusions we made with the kind of reliability and validity test. That means which decides the quality.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ranganath, for a successful presentation and detailed information provided to our research scholars on the areas of measurement and data scaling and various techniques and tools utilized for data analysis and the further course of action. Thank you very much for your kind presentation and well coordinated presentation. Once again, on behalf of our GS College of Commerce Vardha, I wish you all the best and hope for the same in the future course of time. Thank you very much, sir.